Before we begin, I just want to warn everyone that there are going to be spoilers in this review. So if you have any plans of watching it, watch it first before watching my review of the film. Lady Ballers reminds me of a 2000s comedy. You know, something we all used to watch on the regular until the left ruined it. These comedies that were around when I was younger were actually funny, like Mr. Bean and The Simpsons. I used to watch movies like this all of the time when I was at my grandma's house, or when I was glamping. You know, when you're camping but actually in an RV instead of in a tent, cold, hard, on the ground. The way that Lady Ballers was filmed actually reminds me of RV, the movie. It brings back so many memories and it's so refreshing. So starting at the beginning of the movie, it starts by telling a story of the coach played by Jeremey, the God King himself, which was about a decade before present time. The team he was coaching was on a losing streak until time ran out and it hit halftime. All of the players ran to the locker room and threw their used towels on the towelboy's head and pushed him into the locker. All standard thing. Then the coach comes in and explains why he cannot give a good motivational speech, and that is quite literally taken as the motivational speech. Then the team is amped up and ready to party. Coach Jeremy ends off by saying, which gets the team even more pumped up. The team then exits the locker room and leaves the towel boy in the locker. After they leave, the towel boy comes out and compliments Coach Jeremy. Jeremy just agrees and says, "You're right, towel boy," and leaves the locker room. After halftime, the team goes to court and ultimately wins the game. The movie then turns to present day, where the coach is having a hard time at his life and is down on his luck. He is having a hard time connecting with his students and now gym classes because they are all on their phones, which, fact check, true. I can attest to this because of the fact that this is exactly how my gym classes work. Coach then tells the kids that they need to stay out of trouble. This makes the kids mad because you are not allowed to hint at the fact that they are misbehaving. This lands the coach in some hot water and leads him to look for another job. So he heads to his old job, which is now a drag bar. He figures he doesn't have much to lose, so he works a shift. During that said shift, he finds that one of his former students, played by Daniel Kozdolin, works there. Daniel and Coach Jeremy get to talking and come to find out that he can make lots of money by saying that Daniel is a woman now. This leads Jeremy to see how fast Daniel can run, and it turns out that he is still pretty fast, and he still has it in him to run like a champ. This leads both of them to head to high school and attempt to sign up for the women's team with Jeremy, Daniel's coach. Jeremy signs him up to play, which at first makes the lady working at the stand mad, but then she finds out that Daniel is trans and it makes her change her attitude. Moving on, Daniel competes at a couple games against the woman and he has some luck. Wow. Who would have guessed? The coach and Daniel both end up winning a grand prize. While they are celebrating the big win, they go to a bar where a reporter goes up to them and says that she knows Daniel's truth, and she knows that Daniel is not really a woman. This leads to a deal which the reporter would lie about the real gender of Daniel, thus furthering her career and Daniel's career. But in return, she wants to get half of the money that both of them, Jeremy and Daniel, earn. They say yes, and they said that they don't really care because they have a much bigger idea: the world's champions, which allow anyone to compete on them or against them. Only one problem: the team that once was is not actually really good, so they need to face off on the women's team. So who would this be? Well, that's the next problem. Who are all of the people that are going to pretend to be a woman and be on a woman's team? This ends up leading the coach and Daniel to go out on a search for the team that once was a decade earlier. When they find everyone, they all say yes because of old time's sake. But once they hear what really has to be done, they all change their mind and say hell no. Well, everyone except for the towel boy, and he says, and I quote, "I'll do whatever you want, just say the words and I'll cut my dick off." Meanwhile, the rest of the team walk off and then are talked into the idea of winning like they once did a decade prior. He explains that they can act like women to get on the women's teams, and he has his 8-year-old daughter explain the process of being a quote,
"So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice!"
Which of course is funny. They then begin the montage of becoming a woman by putting on clothes and doing makeup. They also show clips of women teams completely being dominated by clear men, which is actually what's happening in real life, i.e. Leah Thomas. They go throughout the season of basketball, beating all the women's teams until they run into a slight problem. They are so good at being better than the girls that they decide to go on other team sports and dominate all of the other sports. During all of this, the coach's daughter sees how good men are at women's sports and she wants to become a man now. But instead of coach accepting that she wants to actually become the opposite sex, which is not actually possible, but she wants to pretend to be the opposite gender. He gives a speech about how women are so powerful in their own way and says that civilization wouldn't be here if it were not for ladies, which gave me the chills. This is because it's true as anything. Women are special and powerful in their own way, the same thing as guys are handsome and powerful in their own way. But this was ruined when feminists look at the facts and say, why can't it be this way? When they ask this very question, men that are weak say, quote unquote, sorry, you're right. They aren't really. This requires a quite simple answer, because it's not and hasn't been like that since the beginning of time. That's the answer. Which is a good thing, because society wouldn't be here like Jeremy said. After they had this speech, the daughter changes her mind and accepts the fact that she is a great little girl. Afterwards, Coach Jeremy finds out that he was on a hot mic and the reporter that he has to deal with was listening. She becomes mad at Jeremy and tells him that if he does not continue the lie that his male players are women, then she will cut off his penis and cancel him. He gets scared and concedes. The next day, he plays a game against the women's team, or at least he tries to, but the opposing quote women's team has been replaced with all men, some of their own medicine, but they are bigger and stronger than Jeremy's team. The crowd goes crazy and loves that they are actually watching a men's basketball team. But focusing back on the home team, they start to lose. This makes Coach Jeremy mad, and he calls the timeout. He tries to pep talk the team by saying that he has been sleeping with the reporter and says that they need to win this. He finishes off by saying his slogan, winners are just losers that win. This makes the team go crazy, and they go back on the court just to lose even more. He then has an idea, and he tries it out at halftime, which is replacing the men on his team with little girls, and then facing them off against the bigger and stronger team. This starts off wholesome, but ends with the bigger and stronger team winning 300-8. The movie wraps up by Chris, which is played by Matt Welsh, taking off his costume to reveal that it was actually Matt's plan the whole entire time to act like a hippie. This was also an attempt to get the coach and his wife back together. All in all, this was a really good movie with so many little twists and turns along the way. Definitely go watch it if you have not already. With that being said, for now, my name is Dimitri, and I thank you for watching.